Hey, Hannah.
Hey, Jess.
You know those paperbacks that you always used to find on your grandmother's side table or in her bathroom? And they always have that really old book smell, and they always have a woman on the cover. You know those?
I'm familiar.
Yeah. It has been my dream since the first inkling of our having a podcast for us to read these. And here we are. I'm so satisfied. I'm so happy right now.
I'm so thrilled for you that your dreams are coming true. Truly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mhm.
Happy Valentine's Day for our 2026 Valentine's special. We wrote book reports on Granny Smut.
Yes, and for anyone who is hearing Granny Smut and going, what? We mean like Harlequin novels from the 70s and 80s, like Smut that your grandma probably would have been reading.
Mine's from the early 2000s, but it's still on par, I feel. But yeah, pretty much anything that your grandmother would have read that would have had her clutching her pearls just a little bit. That's what we're talking about.
My dad told me that my grandma used to read one of these a day. Like she'd start a novel in the
I believe
morning
it.
and be done by nightfall.
Yeah. And they all traded them. Yeah.
It's gonna be us when we're old.
Yeah.
All of our
Mhm.
romantasy will become the new Granny Smut.
Oh, I can't wait. It's going to be so fun. But first, how are you? How's it going?
Oh gosh. I am, I won't lie. I've been having like a hardcore depressive episode going on for the last probably about a month now, where I just got into this funk and then just have not been able to claw myself back from that. I don't even know necessarily what caused it. Maybe it was just like a whole routine change with the new semester and teaching coming up and preparing for what I'm going to teach the children. And like I've just got a lot going on personally. And I just got to a point where I was just so tired all the time and just didn't care to do much. And so oh yeah, and I was sick too. I had a fever for 3 days and was sick for a really long time, so that didn't help. So I feel like January just took me out. And now things are kind of looking up for February. Like things are good, like better now. But yeah, January kind of kicked my ass. So I'm okay. I'm starting to actually teach. I got to meet my students a few days ago.
Ooh, she's a teacher.
She is indeed a teacher. And all of my kids seem super nice, and I'm teaching creative writing, and a lot of the kids in that class actually really love creative writing. And so I think that's going to be a really fun class, because I find with creative writing, it's kind of hit or miss, because some kids take it because they genuinely prefer creative writing over like a standard English lit class. And there's a lot of kids who take it just because they think it'll be easier. And so when you get a class of the kids who just think it'll be easier, it's harder to get them to participate. Whereas with the kids who are just happy to be creative writing, it's a lot more fun. So I definitely have that kind of a class, and I'm excited. And then my math classes are great. I'm feeling really positive about it. That's exciting. It's just, I don't know, I'm having kind of like a meta thing lately of like, oh my God, like I'm sitting there writing a unit plan and I'm looking at it and I'm like, wow, everything I've ever learned, somebody just made up. Some random 20-something teacher made it up on a Friday night. like that's just like a wild thing to realize. So that was kind of funny. And I've got another friend who's doing a different teaching program at a different university, but at the same time as me. And so we've been like swapping stories and swapping resources. And so that's been fun. Because teachers have to stick together. It's really rough out here. And in terms of reading, oh my God, I've been in the worst reading slump probably that I've had in like the last several years. I read one book in January and it was 80 pages long.
Ooh, I did not check the page count on that one, but making the January wrap up was a little funny. It's just the one book right in the middle.
Yeah, it's like like I got a little
It's
sad.
like a spotlight.
I looked at our spreadsheet and you've got this like long, insane list of all the things
Yeah,
that you've read, and then there's
I
just my
popped.
one sad little like I don't even think it was a whole 80 pages. I think it was like 73 or something, and it wasn't even good. It wasn't even good. I'm having the worst
Oh,
reading like month of my life. It's terrible.
the pod reading is about to pick up, and so you've got at least 4 books on your horizon, minimum,
4 books, you said?
at least.
Amazing. Great. We'll
Yeah,
see how that goes.
yeah.
That's good, but for now, how are you?
All right. I read a whole bunch in January. Work has gotten insanely busy, and so I just escaped. And yeah, 9 books came out of it. So that was pretty cool. I have also been learning to knit. And so, in true granny fashion, right before this episode, I was working on knitting a sweater, which is just lovely. And I also got a lot of stuff for the pod done this morning, so that felt really good. But yeah, I don't know. I've just been working lots, reading lots, and learning to knit, and that's been like the main things lately. Not much else has been going on, and I'm only like just now realizing this as I'm giving you this update. I'm like, man, I've just been like, whew, go mode, uh, because there's not much else to report.
Yeah.
um,
I feel like this past
yeah,
week was inordinately long and difficult.
yeah, same. It was for sure a long one, and I'm just glad to be through it. We've also had some people we that are about to leave at work, and so I'm expecting my next couple weeks to be equally, if not longer.
Oh,
But you know what? We're just gonna girl boss through it. We're gonna read a lot of books. We're gonna knit a whole ass sweater. Bet. Just watch.
yeah.
It'll be fine.
We're killing it. We're gonna look super cute while we do it. Um,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
I dead ass start teaching in
Yeah.
a week and a half from when we record this.
That's crazy.
I walk in on the first day, I go, hi. Not me almost saying my last name just now. But like, I guess I'm your teacher now. Like I don't like I don't like like every time a kid comes up to me and calls me by my last name, I'm like I turn around and I'm like, who are you
Like,
talking to? Like
I oh my God.
what do you mean I'm 17? Like I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Also, I'm 25 now, so I guess that's a thing.
How do you feel about that? Are you like having feelings about that, or is it just me that's freaking out about turning 25 in a few months?
It's fine. I feel more or less the same. I feel like I'm starting to notice that there are adults younger than me, and that's weird. And I noticed that literally on Friday because I have a car that is very sensitive, and she has been needing a lot of attention since I bought her only in May. And so she was in the shop this past week, and so the mechanics, they have a shuttle service. So this kid picked me up from work. I say a kid. He told me on our way back to the shop that he graduated during COVID.
Okay.
Okay.
So he's a year
Okay.
younger than us.
He said that he didn't actually write like diploma exams. And I'm like, so they just let you out into the world? And he was like, yeah, they did. And I went, why? And like, this is not the first time that I've been in a vehicle with this kid. This is the same guy that picked me up last time my car decided that she needed some special attention. And the last time that I was in the car with him, he was like scared of me. He didn't talk to me the entire time. He just like eyes on the road at it the entire way. And it's like a 25-minute drive. It was weird. And so the fact that he spoke to me this time was improvement. And it's like, oh, so that's why you were so socially stunted. Got it. So yeah, I've started to notice that there are adults out in the world that are younger than me, and that's a little unsettling because I still feel like I'm an 18-year-old adult inside.
That's
I'm
how I
like, who let
feel.
me out? Who let me drive a vehicle? Who let me coordinate like medical things? Who let me have access to all of this? Who let me process thousands of dollars of transactions? Who let me do that? That seems like a lot. But then, yeah, there are literal children out there that are adulting younger than me.
Yeah.
And that blows my mind.
You know what? I started to feel that way last year, especially at work, because I would see some like kid come in with a driver's license that says like 2006 on it. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean you're 20? Like, that doesn't compute. Anyways, yeah, so I feel you on that because, like, I'm like, wait a sec.
Hold up. I'm not the youngest anymore, and it's weirding me out.
Yeah, like, not everyone younger than me are children.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been a weird thing that I've just been, like, Bader mind-offing lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I would love to tell you about the book that I read.
I cannot wait. And I cannot wait to tell you about the book that I read because it's crazy. And I have so many notes.
Okay, so I read Death Angel by Linda Howard, and this is one of the books that I got for free from my college.
Oh, I know how those are.
Yeah, it was on the discard shelf, and so I went, don't mind if I do, and I brought her home, and that's how I actually got half of my Granny Smut collection.
Yeah, you also gifted some to me.
Yeah, I did, because I already had a copy of that one, and then I went, we can both read this one. So, excited for that. Anyway, this is one of those finds, and the description reads, a striking beauty with a taste for diamonds and dangerous men, Drea Rousseau is more than content to be arm candy for Raphael Salinas, a notorious crime lord who deals with betrayal through quick and treacherous means. A bullet to the back of the head, a blade across the neck, an incendiary device beneath a car. Eager to break with Raphael, Drea makes a fateful decision and a desperate move, stealing a mountain of cash from the malicious killer. After all, an escape needs to be financed. Though Drea runs, Salinas knows she can't hide, and he dispatches a cold-blooded assassin in hot pursuit, resulting in a tragic turn of events. Or does it? Left for dead, Drea miraculously returns to the realm of the living, a changed woman. She's no longer shallow and shellfish. Yeah, she's no longer a crustacean. No longer steals or cheats or sells herself short. Both humbled and thrilled with this unexpected second chance, Drea embraces her new life, but in order to feel safe and sound and stop nervously looking over her shoulder, she will need to take down those who marked her for death. There's even more, and I can't believe how much the summaries of these books on the back just tell you the entire plot of the entire book.
Oh my god, just wait till mine is crazy.
Holy shit. So the last part is joining forces with the FBI, supplying vital inside information that only she can provide. Drea finds herself working with the most dangerous man she's ever known, yet the closer they get to danger, the more intense their feelings for each other become, and the more Drea realizes that the cost of her new life may be her life itself, as well as her heart. So.
Oh my god, that's everything.
Yeah. So, immediate intrigue, as you can tell. So, I'm going to read my report, and then we'll open up the floor to questions.
Okay. I'm here for it.
Okay. Death Angel by Linda Howard blurs the line between terror and lust in this cat-and-mouse romance in which Drea Rousseau, previously Andrea Butts, soon to be Andy Pearson, finds herself falling helplessly in love with a cold-blooded assassin that has been hired to hunt none other than herself. We start off with a surprising level of spice as soon as Chapter 2, when Drea's boyfriend/mobster sugar daddy agrees to give her to an assassin for 4 hours in return for agreeing to a job. The killer then not only gets her off better than any man ever has, but sees through her charade and understands that any woman who has lived in this place, among these lions, for 2 years, must surely be smarter than she appears to be. He respects her, and she notices. Add in the fact that he made this time with her last as long as it possibly could, because it only counts as one time when he officially finishes one time. The man made those 4 hours as teasing and lustful as you would expect in a 2008 Harlequin, all for it to come crashing down when he tells Drea, once was enough. It makes me absolutely feral with excitement when a female character understands exactly how much her male counterparts underestimate her and then uses that to her advantage. Drea did this so well, in fact, that she lived with a drug lord for 2 years, the entire time having him believe that she was just a bimbo interested only in sex and shopping. She committed to having the TV turned on to shopping channels, to being placid and agreeable, no matter the circumstances, to anticipating any detail that her boyfriend, Raphael Salinas, might be suspicious of and have checked by his goonies. She lured him into a false sense of security, and the dual POV allows us into Raphael's perspective to understand just how successful Drea was in her endeavor. He truly believed innocent dumb Drea could never have come up with a scheme well enough to pull the wool over his eyes, until, that is, his bank account was drained of over $2 million and he didn't even realize it for 24 hours, allowing her more than enough time to get out of the state. She hadn't exactly planned to execute her great escape at this time, but when a man offers you to a literal assassin for 4 hours, you take it pretty personally. Linda also hits the reader with an absolute shock when she kills off her leading lady less than 150 pages into the novel, leaving us gasping and unable to anticipate what is about to happen to her. When Drea's panic and rusty driving skills have her flying off of a cliff into a fatal accident, we do not expect her to survive a literal tree impaling her chest. In fact, our assassin follows her down the cliff on foot and arrives just in time to see the light fading from her eyes and her lips let out their last breath. However, women don't decide to live with drug lords under false pretenses just for funsies. Drea has a past. We learn of her pregnancy and placental abruption she went through at only 15 years old, which ultimately resulted in the death of her son and an emergency hysterectomy that Drea barely survived herself. But in those few short moments when Drea's son's body is removed from hers, she could give nothing more than to offer herself in place of her son. That love, that motherly tenderness, earns her a second chance. Quote, her second chance wasn't really at this life. It was a second chance to earn that life. If she wanted that, then she had to do this. Unquote. Page 192.
Damn, okay.
Uh-huh.
It's got insane really fast. I feel like I have whiplash and like okay, continue.
Yeah. You know how in 2008 when they just went, what if this happened, and like up the stakes?
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those ones.
Okay.
Drea miraculously survives the most fatal car crash imaginable. And while a recovering Jane Doe is still in the hospital, the assassin found her yet again. Yet this time, with a change of heart. He eventually convinces Andy of this, telling her that, quote, I gave it up last year, though, after sitting in a hospital chapel and crying because I just stood outside your hospital room and listened to you talking to your nurse, and I knew you were not only alive, but somehow whole. I haven't taken a job since, unquote. Page 300. Swoon.
Oh my god, he stopped killing people for me.
Yeah.
What a dreamboat.
Mm-hmm. Andy, however, being the righteous attention whore that she is, decides that Selena still deserves further justice, more than all the money that she stole from him, and that it is her job to deliver it. She pushes our leading man to kill just one more time, to go back on his oath to himself, so that she would not need to become a killer herself.
Selfish much?
Ultimately don't think that Andy was that good of a person, even though she was consciously trying to become one. Her choices led to others being pushed against their better judgment, causing further internal conflict in her wake. Kind of a bitchy thing to do, if you ask me.
Yeah, no kidding. What? Do your own dirty work.
Yeah, like she was so close to as well, and he like came swooping in. Yeah, self-centered. Death Angel was a lovely 4-star read. Would I recommend it to a friend? Probably. Would I have guessed Granny was reading this 2008 banger? Probably not. I love a good morally gray romance, and this was a fun read, now with many annotations.
Wow. That was a roller coaster and a half. That was like, oh my gosh. What? Okay. Also, I love how both of our books, I don't love this is not good, but like both of our books ended up with some kind of a scenario where the female leads being like sold to somebody.
Yeah.
What is up with that? I don't know if I like the tropes involved in these books.
It was like the only dark romance trope that existed for them.
Yeah, I guess. But why? I
Like,
don't know.
oh, I don't know. They weren't that quite that creative yet to be like that, the ice cream level that Bryn Weaver is. So,
Oh my God.
yeah.
Wow. Okay, what did you think? What was your rating? What was like the vibe? Did you enjoy it? Did you hate it?
Solid 4 stars.
Oh my God, really?
I had a good time with it.
Okay.
The vibes were fun. Okay.
Uh-huh.
It was crazy. She literally had a tree through her chest and lived.
Is that I don't
Okay.
even think that's possible.
It's not. I've watched Grey's Anatomy.
I mean, then again, there have been
I've
people
seen
who've
that
been like
episode.
shot in the head and they survived.
No, it was like she was dead for a while too, and then she came back because her son loved her.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Like the game of yeah, but what if was so strong here. And it was just a good time, okay? Drea, she was relatively likable until the end where I went, you bitch. Like she had gotten away. She had gotten away. Raphael thought she was dead, okay? She had fully gotten away with it. And then she went, he doesn't deserve to live. He should get fucked. And so she took it upon herself to go do that. Like, the girl did not need to do all that. Period. She had fully gotten away with it. And
I feel like it would
oh,
make sense if it were like genuinely a revenge plot.
yeah, no, but she was just doing it for like the greater good.
Because like you had
Like,
already moved on.
take care of yourself at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was weird. It felt like a little bit of a stretch, and that's why it came down that extra star.
Right.
Because I was like, she was like relatively likable until she made the dumbest choice ever. And that just took it all away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Relative vibes, I'd say it was the assassin had the typical tall, dark, and handsome thing going on. And not only that, but good at his job. And so that was really cool because in that 4 hour window, there's a part where she goes out onto the like balcony. And of course, the FBI are like watching this balcony. And the entire time, even though he's on the balcony, he's turned just because, of course, it's it's like multi POV, not just dual. And
Oh.
so we see from the FBI side, and they can never get a clear shot of his face, no matter what way he's facing. Like he just perfectly positions himself to not be in their eye line.
Some
And
Assassin's
it's just
Creed type
like,
shit. Like
yeah, but it's just written so hot. Oh,
we love a
so
phantom
that was
around
really
here.
good. Yeah, exactly. So that was really something to read. The other part that kind of lost points was that outside of our main three people, so like Selena's, Drea, Andy, and our killer, I think his name is Simon.
Sorry, the killer's
You,
name is Simon.
yeah, I think so.
Oh my
Yeah,
God, that's so funny.
that gets revealed like halfway through.
Okay.
Everyone else just kind of like blurs together, and there's a lot of like henchmen under Raphael and just like other various bad mobsters, but they all kind of like blur together. So you lose track of all those guys, and you really just end up remembering our main people. Oh, and Andy's friend as well. There was also a really powerful moment with Andy and her friend that like gained some points for the book. I
Okay.
won't lie. So if you want intrigue and suspense and some like besties not quite living their best lives, getting some nonetheless. Good book. Good book. Would recommend.
Okay. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
what I was expecting, but it wasn't that.
I also didn't know what I was expecting. It was interesting, and all the while, I just love to remember that I got this from a school.
That's so funny. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I have 3 that you gave me from school,
Yeah.
and they're all horrendous, and I might just read one to get me out of this
Oh,
reading
yes.
slump, but
Oh, that would be so funny. Please tell me how it goes if you do.
yeah, maybe I'll make a reel about it or something.
Oh, that would be incredible.
Wow, okay, 4 stars.
Yeah. Yeah. It was decent overall.
Okay.
But yeah, that is Death Angel by Linda Howard.
Wow.
What did you read?
Oh my God, I would love to tell you. Okay, so I have like 8 pages of notes here.
She's an English major, y'all.
No, but you don't understand this book. I honestly want to mail it to you.
Oh my.
Like you don't. I would love to know your
Dare
thoughts. Because, okay, so the book I read is called Captive Splendors.
Oh.
It's by Fern Michaels.
Okay.
The original publication year was 1980.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's good.
So genuine Harlequin novel. The page count is 393 pages. I did not make
Decent.
it through all those, spoiler alert. My rating, I can't rate it because I DNF'd it. I just couldn't do it. I don't know if it's because I'm in a reading slump or this is just not for me. This is historical fiction, by the way.
Okay.
But it never exactly tells us what time period. It's just some sort of nondescript, old-timey.
Oh, vaguely historical.
Yeah, but there's some timeline indicators because a major plot point is like a whole bunch of people are going overseas on a ship to like the new America. So we have a sort of thing. Anyways, I'll get into that. But yeah, it's historical fiction, romance, obviously. I wouldn't call it erotica just because there's not a lot of smut involved.
Okay.
And so I would say it's like a historical fiction romance
Yeah.
type vibe.
Mine only had smut at the beginning and then some at the end.
I'll
And like there was like none in the middle.
yeah, I'll get into it.
Okay.
First, I wanted to start with some content warnings because this book is really dark, it turns out.
Really?
Yeah, in not like a sexy dark romance way, and like genuinely really dark. So I've separated into like graphic content warnings, like more moderate stuff, and then minor things that are like it's mentioned, but it's not really gone into in depth. So for graphic content warnings, graphic sexual violence, graphic sexual and physical abuse, religious bigotry, physical violence, eye loss, and gore.
Okay.
Then we have moderate depiction of child abandonment, child abuse, homelessness, bugs, if you don't like bugs, and vomit.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Those are actually 2 things on my list. That's crazy.
And then the minor things is like a historical incident of sexual violence and food insecurity and financial hardship is kind of just like mentioned, like thrown out there, but like it's not really gone into. I just want to throw that out there in case for whatever reason after I tell you about this book somebody's interested to go read it, because obviously you should always read your content warnings. I went into this without reading the content warnings and that was a mistake. So be warned. So now that we've got that out of the way, I have a description for you.
Okay.
It is yet another one of those descriptions where it tells you the whole plot. So here we go. But it's so dramatic. And this description is also why I went out of my way to tell you it was historical fiction. Okay. Innocence gone. Ren van der Ries, rescued from London's alleys when the magnificent couple Serena and Reagan take her into their hearts. She ripens into a creature as enchanting and wild as Serena and as headstrong and fierce as Reagan. Savage betrayal. When the man she plans to marry sells her to his friends for their carnal amusement, Ren inflicts a sweet revenge and flees, hiding aboard the Sea Siren, a ship bound for the New World, bitterly certain she will always hate a man's embrace. Tender love. As time passes, Ren is haunted by her desire for Caleb van der Ries, the elegant and sumptuous son of Reagan, the quote-unquote brother she had always dreamed of marrying. Caleb's erotic longings propel him into the arms of a scheming vixen, while he nurtures a secret passion for the enchanting young wren.
No.
Innocent and torn, the young lovers struggle to resist each other as poisonous envy and vicious treachery threaten to keep them apart forever.
Oh my God.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. So my overall notes are, hey, what? Like, first of all, that description is crazy. And second of all, we have some inaccuracies here. The man that she was supposed to marry didn't sell her to his friends. They weren't even his friends. They were ruffians he was playing cards with, and he lost all his money. So naturally, he then bet her and lost.
So they were strangers.
Yeah.
Wow. That bites.
Yeah. 3 strangers, random men.
Wow.
That he just brings back to his apartment and is like, here's your winnings.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah. Also, the description alone gives a pretty good indication of what it's like to read this. For example, she ripens into a creature as enchanting and wild as Serena. And Caleb's erotic longings propel him into the arms of a scheming vixen.
Some choice wording.
Yeah, you can really feel the historical fiction Harlequin situation that we're in right now.
Indeed.
Also crazy how the whole plot is in the description. That's literally the everything that happens minus the absolute tea in the details. Like, all the main, like, plot points are right there.
Yep.
I'm like, okay, great.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I had to DNF because things just got too insufferable for me. I'm not sure if that's just because this was likely written in the 70s or because this is actually the worst, but either way, I couldn't do it. This felt like the worst kind of fever dream, and I also went into this without looking at the content warnings, like I said, which was a mistake. However, I do have to give the author credit for how seamlessly interconnected all the drama and subplots are. Like, this whole book is just telenovela level shit. Like, it's so interwoven. And then in terms of the setting, like, the setting changes like 16 times. It feels like we are being dragged all over the goddamn world in some nondescript time period in history that is vaguely British. It's hard to orient yourself in what's happening. So it's really just, here's everything, and then, but no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All vibes, no details.
Yeah, like, we know that America is new at this time, but it seems pre-independence from Britain.
Okay.
It seems pre-Civil War. It seems early colonial days.
Okay.
Do with that what you will. The point of view also changes completely at random, mid-scene, with no indication of when we're switching.
Really? That's weird.
Yeah. It'll be like, we're in Ren's head, who's the main character, and then suddenly we're getting the thoughts of her friend that she's talking to.
That's strange.
Yeah, the random POV changes adds to that disorientation.
Uh-huh.
So it's a little bit hard to get into. But it's the first book I've read where the POV is genuinely third-person omniscient. You know how you get the options of third-person objective, third-person limited, omniscient, which is normally what it is if you're following one character's thoughts. This one, you're following all the characters' thoughts in the scene at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah. In places, it was done very well. Sometimes you genuinely can't tell whose head you're in for a second. But then in other times, it happens really smoothly, so it was just an experience in the end. Because I've never read a book where someone chose third-person omniscient.
Yeah.
And I can see why it's not a popular kind of point of view, because I can imagine how difficult that would have been to write.
Yeah.
So, like, props there, but also what's going on?
But like, also why?
Yeah, so that's the setting, POV, set the stage. Then we have the characters, and we have quite the cast of characters. First, obviously, I'm going to start with our leading lady, our main gal, Ren Vanderrees. So Ren is interesting. There's a very clear character development that happens throughout the book for Ren. Uh-huh. In the beginning, she's petulant and annoying at times because she's quite naive in the beginning, but she does ultimately grow. In the end, like, She proves herself to be really strong, and I have so much respect for the way that her character shifts, especially after what happens to her and how she handles it. I do enjoy her spitfire kind of feisty nature and the way she resists control or authority. I think that's really cool, especially in historical fiction for a woman in this time period. The one thing that I love about her the most is that she stays true to herself always, regardless of what anyone else says or what the consequences might be of nonconformity. So she's the kind of character who she would rather be persecuted and spurned and abused than to forsake what she believes is right and who she believes she is. Even if she's wrong. Like, she's still like that even when she's wrong. But it's cool to see how she just is like, nope, like, this is what I want and this is who I am and I'm not going to take your shit. The problem is that she does that even when someone's giving her good advice. But I think it's cool how she stays true to herself on that. And she cares a lot about the little guy, like the underdog. And she has a lot of compassion for other women who are suffering. However, she is a terrible friend in the beginning. So, like I said, there's a definite shift from the adolescent, self-centered worldview to the more wise, broad worldview of a grown woman, which is cool. Then we have our male lead, Caleb Vander Rees, her adopted brother.
I'm sorry. What?
Yeah, did you miss that part?
Okay.
So here's the family tree. So here's the family tree.
It's like, hold up real quick.
Wait a minute. Yeah, okay. So here's the thing. We have Serena and Reagan, who are actually a couple from a previous book in this series.
Okay.
And Reagan had a son named Caleb. This is Caleb. Caleb is Reagan's son.
Okay.
So Reagan and Serena got together, and Serena became like Caleb's sort of surrogate mom.
Yeah.
Because they're together now. And
So
he
stepmom.
didn't have a mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then later on, like years later, Reagan and Serena find Ren as like a street urchin in London.
Oh my God. So this is a stepbrother. I'm stuck in the washing machine situation.
Not quite. It's a little bit worse than that.
Oh no.
and I'll get into it. But so he's the son from somebody else of Ren's adoptive father.
Okay.
And not really adopted. Like, it's not official at all.
Yeah.
They just rescued her off the street.
Right.
And Caleb was already an adult when this happened.
Fine, but I'm not happy about it.
Or not an adult, but like late teens. Like an adult by this time period standards. So like they were never like raised together in the same house. He was like gone living his life.
Okay.
So Caleb, he's literally just a standard issue man. Like,
great. I love
like,
a generic boy.
He's just, yeah, like a generic boy. This book, I think, falls into the trap of having a personality-proof male main character who is there just for the purpose of being a man. He doesn't really have...
a meat stick.
Yeah, he doesn't really have a lot to him. He's way too self-centered for me to give him any real points. But he does care very deeply for the well-being of those he cares about, and he does get murderous over women being mistreated.
Okay.
And I hate his views on women overall, though. He is the reason that this book reads as being written by a man, even though it wasn't.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I just really don't like him. I don't want to say he's the worst, because there are certainly worse men in this book, but he's not male lead worthy. I don't like him for that. And he's just like a rake and very, I don't want to be tied down. And he's like a sea captain, but nobody really knows what he does because he just sails the high seas. And we don't really get any more details than that. So yeah, he's got a bit of an ego. But he is protective and he's just like a standard issue man. I don't know how else to describe it. Then we have Serena and Reagan Vander Rees, who are the parents. They're just out here doing their best as parents, and their children are making things extremely difficult. Like they're trying. To be fair, though, their best isn't always great, and I'll get into why, but they're just there. Another character of note is we have Aubrey Farrington, who is a friend/business partner of Caleb.
Okay.
But he's also a little old man.
Okay.
He's definitely a lovable rogue kind of character archetype. He's a kind of foil for Caleb. Like, he's slimy and somewhat duplicitous in a way that makes Caleb look more heroic and headstrong. But he's not so slimy that we don't like him.
Copy.
Like, he thinks he's way better at lying and scheming than he is, which makes him more comical than anything else. And when it comes to the female characters, he does give wholesome granddad vibes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then we have Malcolm Weatherly, who is quite possibly the worst character I've ever had the utter displeasure of reading in all of my years of being literate. He is the worst kind of man in every sense of the term. He doesn't deserve more than 2 bullets for all of his treacherous little weasel behavior, and that's all I have written down for him.
Wow.
Yeah, he's the man she intends to marry.
Ew.
Yeah, who loses her in a game of poker.
That makes sense.
Then we have Sarah Stoneham, who is Ren's best friend? Question mark. They're frenemies, I would say.
Okay.
And she's the kind of girl who made other women fear female friendships. Like, she's only out for herself. She just wants to see other women fail, and she is incredibly boy-obsessed.
Oh.
So, spoiler alert, she is the aforementioned scheming vixen in the description.
Shocker.
At the start, I felt really bad for her over how she was just so desperate to be loved, and she was looking at Ren with that sort of girlhood envy that I'm sure we have all experienced at one time or another, looking at our friends when we're young. And my heart ached for her remembering that myself, like experiencing that myself. And then she ruined it by beating herself. However, you still can't deny her plight as a woman in the context of the setting. Like, in the context of the setting, that kind of competition was necessary to survive. So I can't totally be like, oh, she's the worst, but she's the worst, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And her friendship, quote unquote, with Ren is interesting. Then we have Bascom Stoneham, who is Sarah's brother, and the Puritans.
Oh.
He's a Puritan preacher. There is a whole gaggle of Puritans in this book that are so prominent for some reason, and I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why they're there. I don't understand, like, what that does for the plot. He's just, like, this insane, like, cult leader level delusional preacher, and he has a little gaggle of Puritans who follow him. Huh. And they're all on this ship because they're trying to escape to America because people in London are hunting down Puritans right now.
Wow.
There's no other discernible reason for them to be there other than being, like, really shitty. And also they do provide some motivation for Sarah because Sarah ends up forced into being part of the Puritans just because her family is, like, her parents and her brother is the preacher. The only note I have for him is, what? OMG, what? And that's all caps with 7 A's. What? Because he is, like, the worst. Like, he's almost as bad as Malcolm. He didn't even get 2 bullet points.
Wow.
And then we have Lydia Stoneham, who is Bascom's wife.
Uh-huh.
And she is literally so brave and at the same time just a lovely little being in desperate need of human connection and protection. Oh. And she's, like, really horribly treated by Bascom and just, like, such religious trauma and, like, a whole thing. Uh-huh. But I do appreciate that even though she has that experience with Bascom, she holds on to her faith still in the end. So she's just really strong. Like, she's really strong and really brave for moving forward from that situation. But at the same time, she's still quite naive and, like, experiencing life for the first time because she was forced into the marriage with Bascom and he turned out to be insane. So that's our cast of characters. Then we have the plot, and I'm going to try and, like, wing through this really quickly. So we have Caleb's penchant for brothels. I've separated it by title. Caleb's penchant for brothels.
Okay.
The book opens up with Caleb inside a woman at the brothel. Blatant character exposition that doesn't really need to be there.
Awesome.
It's just, bam, it's there. And then, like, we never talk about it again. I don't get it.
Awesome.
Then we have Sarah and Ren's gossip over Malcolm. So after the scene of Caleb, we get into the next chapter, and it's Sarah and Ren talking about Malcolm. So Ren has fallen in love with some shitty guy, and his crazy obsessed ex, namely Sarah, goes out of her way to befriend her just to weirdly still be close to Malcolm.
Okay.
Sarah and Ren did not become friends organically. Sarah, like, specifically was seeking her out because she was dating Malcolm.
Oh.
Yeah. So Sarah seems to get off on listening to Ren gush over Malcolm, knowing that she already slept with Malcolm.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. Also, Sarah, delusionally, thinks that Malcolm is in love with her, but he really was only in it for money, and then her family very publicly converted to being Puritans and lost everything, so he dumped her and then went for Ren instead.
Oh, so he's a gold digger.
Yes, Malcolm is a gold digger because he's basically depleted his finances because he has a gambling problem, and so he's just like looking for a wealthy wife. So Malcolm is only in it for Ren's dowry, but he doesn't realize that there is no dowry because she is actually an illegitimate adoptee from the streets. Like, he has no idea because Serena and Reagan are a well-to-do family and they gave her their last name, but like he doesn't realize that she's not a legitimate daughter. While all this is happening, Ren has been staying with a family friend to go to school while Serena and Reagan are off like sailing the high seas, doing whatever. So Serena and Reagan return from being off sailing the high seas to find that Ren has fallen in love with this guy. And they're like, do we trust this guy? Like, what is going on here? So when they return from somewhere, they go to pick up Ren from their family friend's house, only to find out that she plans to run off and marry Malcolm. Serena meets Malcolm and immediately decides he sucks. Because he does. Mm-hmm. But instead of just telling Malcolm that there is no dowry, because that's apparently too easy, Reagan enlists Caleb's help to seduce Ren.
Okay.
Because apparently we endorse step-sibling romance in this family.
Why not?
But then Ren hands his ass to him in a physical altercation that makes Caleb back out. Like, Caleb tries to seduce her, and then she's like, no, screw you. I'm already betrothed to someone else. And like just kicks the shit out of him and runs away.
Wow.
And then Caleb goes back to Reagan and is like, I'm out. I'm not doing this. Sorry. There's not enough in it for me to deal with her. I'm not doing it. Wow. And so he just goes back to the brothel.
Okay.
So naturally, Serena then decides, again, instead of just telling him that there is no dowry, to seduce Malcolm and stage a confrontation with Reagan to give Reagan an excuse to beat the shit out of him.
Okay.
And then we get to history's most petulant temper tantrum. So instead of Reagan catching Serena and Malcolm like they had planned, Ren catches them. And then she throws the world's most ridiculously petulant temper tantrum. And she essentially disowns her parents. And in the process of this argument, because she's all like, you're not my real parents and whatever, Malcolm finds out that she's adopted because he's there watching all this happen. And he abandons her, goes home, and directly tells her not to follow him.
Wow.
And Ren stomps away and forms the worst plan ever for a man who sucks. So
awesome.
Then we get to the next part of what I like to call the Dark Ages. And all I wrote was awful men, crimes upon crimes. For the beginning. Because Ren decides that she's going to chase after Malcolm. She goes to his apartment. She's like trying to be like, we can be together. Like, I've run from them. Like, you're all I have. We can be together now. And he's like, I don't want that. You have no money. And she like pushes him and keeps pushing him and keeps pushing him because she like will not understand that he does not love her.
Yeah.
And so he ends up assaulting her. Yeah. Then he leaves to go gamble. That's when he loses her in the bet. Then he brings the men back to his apartment where, you know, there's a whole bunch of, all the content warnings happen in these scenes pretty much. And then Ren decides when a couple of the men leave to kill the third one and then maim Malcolm.
That's pretty sound.
Yeah. So she leaps up, she kills this guy, and she goes to Malcolm and she like slashes his face. Like down his face over his eye, hence the eye loss content warning. And she does it specifically because his whole identity is being really handsome. Yeah, like his whole identity is built around being beautiful. Yeah. And so she just absolutely maims him.
Good for her.
And then laughs and leaves.
Good for her.
Yeah. So this is the Dark Ages. And then she runs away, and instead of just going back to Serena and Reagan, she goes back to this woman named Lottie, who is like another sort of homeless woman. Okay. Sort of. Who has like an underground thing going on, like crime and whatever. But she used to take care of Ren, and so she goes like running back to Lottie. Lottie like comes up with a plan. She's like, I hear this ship is leaving. It's Caleb's ship, but she doesn't know that. She's like, I hear the ship is leaving for America. You can get out of here. Like, here is everything that I have. Go. And in throughout this, we get like a whole bunch of random street urchin lore drop from when Ren was little that also I don't know how it's relevant. But anyways, while this is happening, Ren's doing that. Then we have Farrington's 3 is what I like to call Farrington's 3. Because, so basically, a fence, a king's mistress, and a weasel walk into a bar. Okay? So we have Farrington, who is a fence for stolen goods. We have a king's mistress who Malcolm was sleeping with, who Farrington gets the mistress to get Malcolm to steal the king's collar. It's like this jeweled collar because he's trying to steal it and fence it. And he basically manipulates Malcolm through this mistress to do that because Malcolm is like in a bad financial situation. So he does steal it. And so then Malcolm takes the thing he steals and goes onto the ship, Caleb's ship, with this stolen collar with Farrington to go to America and sell it and start a new life.
Wow.
And the Puritans also are getting on this ship to go to America to escape. So now we have Sarah, Malcolm, and Ren all getting on this ship, along with the Puritans.
Lovely.
And it's Caleb's ship, and Caleb has no idea. Caleb's just the driver here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then we just have a whole bunch of like weird exposition about the Puritans because Ren sneaks in by dressing up as a Puritan and then ends up with them. And then Bascom like treats her really badly, and Bascom's the preacher. And Ren's like, I want nothing to do with you. I'm not listening to you. So Bascom decides to haul her up to the top of the ship during a storm.
Oh.
Where she nearly dies.
Okay.
And Caleb is the only one up there because he's like sailing the ship. I'm like, I was going to say driving, but that's not correct. He's at the wheel. Steering. And he's tied himself down.
Okay.
To the wheel because like the storm is so bad. Uh-huh. And this preacher just hauls Ren up. So Caleb sees this. Caleb is like, I've made a mistake leaving her with the Puritans because Bascom at some point came up and told Caleb that Ren was there, and Caleb laughed and was like, whatever, you can have her. So, hate that. So this happens. I call this Hurricane Bascom.
Uh-huh.
So everyone gets injured. It's like this horrible storm. Bascom's an idiot. Then Farrington like hauls Ren at Caleb's orders. So she ends up staying in Caleb's quarters. And Caleb was also really injured. And so they're there like healing together. And at some point, like she has the chills. And so he has to go and lay with her and warm her up and all of this. And in this, she's having this insane fever dream. And she accidentally confesses to him everything that happened to her.
Okay.
And so Caleb is obviously like real messed up in the head. He's like, oh my gosh, I can't deal with these feelings I have for Ren because like she's been through all this stuff and I don't want to like make it worse and whatever. So then we get to what I call the worst mistake of Caleb's stupid life. It's like,
okay.
is he leaves Ren, ignores her, avoids her, doesn't want anything to do with her. But he's still a man with needs. He has needs. And so he decides to hook up with Sarah. Because Sarah also managed to manipulate her way up into staying in the quarters that become like the sick bay for women. Because she is pregnant.
Great.
With Malcolm's kid.
Ew.
Yeah, and she decides that she's going to seduce Caleb and then try and claim that it's Caleb's kid so that she can attach herself to Caleb.
Oh,
and
awesome.
Yep. So that's what happens there. The scheming vixen. That's that part.
Right.
Then
sense.
Sarah realizes that Farrington, the fence, keeps taking extra food and sneaking it to the bottom of the ship somewhere. So she suspects that there's somebody in there.
Uh-huh.
And she goes in there. She follows him down there, goes into the room and finds that it's Malcolm as a stowaway.
Who's about to be a dad.
And she only sees like the half of his face that's not injured. Uh-huh. And so she's like, oh, like I found you. Like Ren told me that you were dead. I can't believe this. We can be together now, blah, blah, blah. And then he turns his face and he tries to say like, oh, Ren did this to me. She's crazy and all this. But Sarah, as much as she doesn't like Ren, doesn't believe him. And so Sarah's like, no, you must have done something. There's no way that Ren would commit such an act of violence unprompted. And so she immediately turns on him, flips the script, and is like, no, fuck you. I'm leaving you in here, locks him back in there, and goes back upstairs.
Love that.
Yeah. But while this is happening, Ren and Caleb are having like a weird interlude in his other chambers where he's now staying because the women are in his regular ones. And so they kind of like almost hook up, but then she starts to freak out a little bit because of what she's been through. And it's actually a really accurate depiction of PTSD. And like he handles it well, question mark. Like he's being really patient and whatever. And so she just kind of leaves after and is like, no, I'm just going to go back to my room. This isn't a good idea. But Sarah sees her coming back and assumes that she was just hooking up with Caleb. And so now she hates Ren even more. And then Lydia, the wife of the preacher, jumps up. While all this is happening, Lydia claws her way up out of the hatch where the Puritans are hiding onto the main deck and goes sprinting and tries to throw herself overboard because she does not want to be with Bascom. Watching your face as I'm describing all of
dramatic.
This.
Okay.
Yeah. So she goes to throw herself overboard. And one of the men on the crew grabs her and is like, what are you doing? She's like, I'm not going back down there. You can't make me. So good luck. And so they decide to let her up there. So she ends up staying with Ren and Sarah in that room. And Ren and Lydia become friends. And Ren decides, she's like, okay, so we're going to get to America. Now I have this responsibility of this other woman. And like, we have to like figure out how to fund this new life of ours. So she decides that she's going to use a deck of marked cards to beat Farrington out of all of his money. Then they're going to rob Bascom.
Uh-huh.
And then they're going to basically like search the ship and like find whatever they can to like basically amass themselves a fortune.
Okay, and all of this is just going to happen perfectly.
Yeah, apparently. And it does.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
That's lucky.
Yeah, so we get to gambling lessons. And so Ren teaches Lydia how to cheat at poker.
Okay.
And then so they win all of Farrington's money. All of Farrington's money. Because he has no idea that the deck is marked. And he thinks, oh, they're just silly girls. Like, they don't know what they're doing. And suddenly they have all of his money and his jewels.
Nice.
Yeah. So that was just like a random side plot. And then this is the last part before I DNF'd, was finally some damn spice. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Finally, so Ren goes back. No, Caleb comes up to Ren and decides that he's made a mistake. He's not interested in Sarah. He does actually want to see Ren. So he asks her to dinner in his chambers. And so I believe that was hold on. Just a reminder. This book is 393 pages long. The first spice scene between the two leads is page 238.
It's criminal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's inappropriate.
And it's not very detailed. Like, okay, so that brings me into the spice now. So I DNF'd right after this. So Harlequin novels really don't have as much spice as I thought they would.
No, they don't.
And
it's shocking.
It's not even particularly detailed, which is mildly disappointing. And maybe that's just me being horrible.
Maybe we've been spoiled.
Yeah, maybe. But still, like, you would think there would be more to it than that. Like most of this book is just like a whole bunch of unfolding of random drama between other characters. And the leads barely talk to each other. And so I'm like, this doesn't, okay. And aside from Caleb's brothel endeavors, the first sexual encounter that is not horrific occurs on page 202. It's 2 paragraphs, and it's not even between the main love interests. It's between Caleb and Sarah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is happening?
Yeah, exactly. And meanwhile, there are so many, like, the way it's written, there's lots of god-awful words like pulsating throbbing, total wantonness, rosy crests.
Okay.
Warm moistness.
Oh, that's just a classic.
Furring of soft hair.
Wedding?
Furring? Yeah. Exactly.
Okay.
The look on your face
I'm not
is
sure
exactly
that's
how I felt.
A verb.
Yeah. And then my personal favorite, The Secret of Her Femininity.
Oh, that one's just poetry.
That one is stupid. So it was just not good. It's just so, I'm sure in 1980 it was good. But we've come so far. I feel like, you know what? Books like this walked so that Jay Bree could run. You know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
Like, this is, I don't know. If I were like a housewife in 1980, I probably would have eaten this up. But
100%.
alas, I am not. And so this book was not for me.
Yeah, sexual repression really did wonders for these writers.
No, for real. Oh my God. And like Fern Michaels had like a very successful career. Fern Michaels actually has since, I believe, passed away. Rest in peace. But yeah, like her career was very successful.
Yeah, love that for
Like
her. Girl boss.
this is great for the time, but
Yeah,
I am not in
we're
the
no
time.
longer in the time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, so that's the plot and the spice for you.
Lovely. If you were to rate it, what would you do? What would you give?
Like a 3.
Fair. Better
Like,
than
it's
I thought, to
passing.
be honest.
It's
Like, it's
passing.
fine. It's
Well,
fine.
because the tea was intriguing enough that I kept going for longer than I probably would have if it wasn't like that.
The nosy
And
bitchness gotcha.
yeah, it did for real. And it had me
Been
like
there.
clutching my pearls quite a lot of like, oh my God, what? I found myself getting into it a little bit and that was frustrating.
That's hilarious, and I love that.
Yeah.
And pretty much what I expected from this episode.
Yeah, I did make a list of some prominent themes and literary devices in the book because as much as I don't like it as much, there are quite a lot of pretty dense thematic interaction between the different things going on. So like right off the bat, main theme, girlhood and what it means to become a woman. Particularly in this novel, Ren becomes a woman by process of trauma. And so you get a glimpse, like, psychologically what that looks like and what that means. And then girlhood through the relationships between Sarah and Ren, and then later Ren and Lydia. Like, the two friendships are foils for each other a little bit to demonstrate the marked difference between Ren before and Ren after. One thing I don't like is how her whole progression kind of centers around this one event. And it is a life-changing event, don't get me wrong, but I feel like there could have been more to her than that. Then obviously we deal a lot with religious trauma and cult psychology with the way that the Puritans are, because it's like a very small group of very radical Puritans led by Bascom. So you see a lot of cult psychology and cult tendencies, especially in Bascom's internal monologue. He's aware of what he's doing. Like, he doesn't, like, he genuinely believes that he is a messenger of God, but he's also aware of the politics of being able to remain in control. So it's crazy to read. And then obviously we have resilience and feminine rage.
I love
with
feminine
that
rage.
Yeah, with that
Beautiful.
insane revenge and just the way that all three of these women in their own way, even though we don't like Sarah, are incredibly resilient and doing whatever they have to do to survive. And Sarah's doing that by manipulating Caleb into thinking that he got her pregnant. Ren's doing that by gambling all of the money away from this man. Lydia is doing that by just taking a stand and refusing and using what little power she has to say no. It's like that quote you like from Jane Eyre.
Oh, I'm no bird and no net ensnares me.
Yes, that's very
Yeah.
Lydia. That's Lydia's vibe. And then we deal a lot with gender roles in history, and a lot of classism and new beginnings, like the hope that kind of came with migration and like the idea of the new world, which is also incredibly colonial. So that's a weird interplay between this new world represents so much hope for so many people coming over, but then they have no right to be coming over. So it's just an odd. Ooh. Then I have, for literary devices, I have dramatic irony to the gods because you are always aware of all the characters' thoughts. And so you know so much that the other characters don't. So it's this, oh my God, I can see it coming and you can't see it coming. And I can't, like, you're screaming at the TV in a horror movie kind of a thing. And then there's a lot of Christian iconography with the Puritans and the symbolism of that and what that means for women at the time, which is quite interesting. And then we have a lot of character foiling, like I said, between Caleb and Farrington, or between Sarah and Ren, or Lydia and Sarah. There's a lot of the characters are defined and enhanced by the comparison of the other characters, which I thought was done quite well. So there is a lot going on that does have literary merit. I just didn't like it. I didn't like reading it. I was not having a good time. So that's that. And then finally, I have some quotes for you.
Excellent.
So, with regards to Ren's shift in character, I have a quote that says, "Through a red mist he saw her remove the stocking from Beasley's thick neck and roll it up her leg." She strangled the guy with the stocking. "Daintily, she buckled the buttons on her slippers and smoothed down her dress. 'I'll be leaving you now, Malcolm. If you ever come near me again, I'll do to you what I just did to your friend.' And then she laughed once more. It was her laugh, not her threatening words, that made him crawl blindly in search of escape."
Period.
Yeah. And that was on page 135. Then on the next page, like in the sort of aftermath, we're back in her sort of perspective. She's thinking, like she's reflecting a little bit, and she goes, "She was no different now," she told herself as she carefully stepped over the cobblestone. She had been beaten, used, and abused, but she was still Wren. She had her mind, her heart, and her wits, and she had come through the battle intact. It never occurred to her to consider the fact that she had just killed one man and maimed another. To survive, you simply did what you had to do. And that was page 136.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. Then we get to the first sort of spice scene that's between Caleb and Sarah.
Uh-huh.
And I did have annotations on this one. So the quote was, "The pulsating throbbing in her breasts made her cry out as she returned his ardor with total wantonness. His mouth was brutal in its intensity as he brushed and teased her silken skin till the rosy crests became taut. Sarah's tongue became a live serpent as it traced the outline of Caleb's mouth, darting inside, treasuring its warm moistness."
Okay, I didn't realize that all of those words were in the same sentence.
Yeah, in like one paragraph.
That hurts.
That hurts a lot.
That hurts more.
It's page 202.
My goodness.
That's not even the whole paragraph. I did remove some parts to make it shorter for the purposes of the pod. There is more.
Wow.
And my annotation was just bestie, ... What? And then
I'm also asking that.
And then at the bottom of the page, I circled the page number and I wrote, "Crazy how we got here before any spice that wasn't horrific."
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, like, before it was all just traumatic and violent and horrible. Then, shortly after this, we have Sarah's internal monologue, and she goes, "What would he say when he found out she was pregnant and claiming him as the father of her unborn child? It didn't matter what he thought. Caleb Vanderreese was an honorable man, and honorable men always did what clever women said they should do."
Oh,
I just underlined it and I wrote, "This is all so gross." Like, she's scary, this lady.
Yeah.
She's nuts. Then we have Caleb's internal monologue after this, and he's reminiscing on how he's glad that Sarah obviously has some kind of experience.
Oh.
And he goes, "Virgins," he told himself, "are bothersome creatures." He was tired of breaking them in for some other man to enjoy. Page 204. And my annotation was "no" with 4 O's.
I have to agree.
Yeah, that's a male main character.
That's gross.
Yep. Then he's reminiscing on the first time he met Wren when she was like 12 and
Great.
He was probably like 17 or 18. And there keeps being this weird reminiscing of, because when they met when they were kids, she innocently, as a 10-year-old with a crush on an older boy might do, she was like, I forget exactly what she said, but essentially she was like, "Will you wait for me? Like, for me to grow up?"
I don't like that very much.
I don't like it either. But like, coming from a kid, it's okay, like whatever. But
yeah,
he keeps continually remembering that. Yeah.
That's weird.
Yep.
That's weird.
And so the quote says, "How well he remembered the first day he had seen Wren. The image of her as a child was almost impossible to keep from his thoughts, as well as the sound of Serena's hushed murmur to Frau Holtz, which is their governess, that Wren was his destiny." Page 204. And my annotation was "ew" with a question mark and an exclamation point, which is called an interrobang, if you didn't know.
That's great. I did not know that, but I will now.
Yeah, so I went "ew" with an interrobang.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I have a quote from like when there's this long scene where Lydia is like jumping up and escaping, and she's making the run across the deck, and the crew member grabs her, and he ends up being like her love interest a little bit. But she just is saying to him, like, "He's insane and I'd rather die than go back there. If you make me go back, I'll find a way to get up here again. Please don't make me go back down there." That's page 206. And my annotation was just like a little asterisk, and it says sobbing in feminine rage. Because, wow, Lydia. And then, so the crew member takes her to Caleb, because Caleb is the captain. So he's the one to decide what to do with this woman, because the Puritans are not supposed to be allowed on deck. And he's like trying to like placate her and try and get her to go back down. And she cuts him off and she goes, I suppose you're going to tell me you're a messenger of the Lord too. Is that it? Well, I'm not interested in hearing any more messages. I've had enough to last me a lifetime. I meant what I said. I would rather be dead than go back down there to him. He's no messenger of the Lord. He's the devil himself. He's evil. He makes me do terrible things. Makes others do terrible things too. He tried to make Ren obey him and she wouldn't. You can't send me back. I won't go, Lydia declared firmly, settling herself on a round stool near Caleb and the wheel. Because she marched right up, like, she got marched right up into, like, where he was steering. And so she just plunks herself down and she's like, I'm not going. So,
no.
and my annotation was just, go, Lydia! Because I love her. I think she's probably one of my favorite characters.
Cute.
And then, on the next, like, in the next chapter, it starts from Bascom's point of view, which is her husband. And it says, for the first time since he had become a preacher, he knew the emotion of fear.
Oh.
Because his thinking is like, well, shit, like, my own wife got away from me, and now, like, I might lose control of everybody. Like, he's aware of, like, the politics of it. And so I just put an annotation that says, good, you bastard. Because you should be scared. Lydia's free now. What are you gonna do? So those are just, like, the moments that stood out to me as I was reading before I DNF'd. And there is a lot of really, like, good moments in there. I just hate Caleb's internal monologue, and I hate the way that the women are treated, because it was written in 1980, but it's set in the past, so I can understand, like, contextually why it has to be that way. I just can't do it. So that's Captive Splendors by Fern Michaels, everybody.
Lovely. Well, this was a good time overall. I think it was a fun way to celebrate Valentine's.
Yeah, I'm so sorry that you just had to sit through my long-winded story, but there's just so much happening in this book.
For real. That was, like, dense.
Yeah. Imagine reading it. It's 400 pages long.
That's wild. Mine was, like, 350, and, it was, like, chunked out into, like, quarters, basically.
Yeah, we just have a lot of scheming going.
Yeah, scheming vixens. Gotta love them.
Yeah, I would continually forget also, like, that there's, like, a heist subplot. There's a Puritan subplot. There's, like, Malcolm's just in the bottom of the ship this whole time. Yeah, there's a lot going on, and I couldn't decide, like, how best to convey that. And so I just listed out what I could remember.
Interesting.
Yeah. Any thoughts? Any questions?
I feel like I was, like, I've just been, like, along for the ride, and I'm just like, wow. You ever get out of a movie theater, like, you went in and it was daytime, and then you come out and it's nighttime? That's how I feel right now. You know?
That's how I felt reading this, and that's why I couldn't do it anymore. I was like, this is going on too long. I can't.
That's fair. You got farther than, like, you typically do with the DNF.
Yeah, normally I know pretty immediately and I'm like, I'm out. But the tea held me in. And then the main couple finally got together. I'm like, ugh, I don't care.
Yeah. Would you ever read another Granny Smut?
Like, purely for curiosity's sake, probably.
Nice.
I don't own anymore because it's not really my vibe usually, but
I've got a couple. All of them from school.
Yeah, I have those ones that you gave me, but I don't really put those in the Harlequin.
I wouldn't call those Granny. They're like early 2000s contemporary.
Yeah.
Yeah. If there are any Granny Smuts out there that you think need our attention, please tell us. Let us know. You can do so on Instagram or Threads at badlyannotatedpod. Or you can email them to us at badlyannotatedpod@gmail.com. And we've also got a book club coming soon. Badly Annotated Book Club. Our first meeting is coming up on March 1st. We're going to be chatting about Big Swiss by Jen Began, which is our February requested reads. So that episode's coming out at the end of this month. Watch it. We're a podcast. Listen to it. And then come talk to us about it.
Live.
Yeah.
Live and virtually. No,
Yeah.
I was about to say live and in person. That's not true. I'm so sorry.
No. Live and virtually. We'll be there. Michelle will be there. Maybe that's it. We don't know yet. We'll see. See you then. Best wishes. Kindest regards.
Sincerely, Jess and Hannah.